Hi everyone. I hope this is bright enough. Um, Chidi here. It's been quite some time now that I've not been able to talk with you guys. It's past 4 a.m. here, and I just had to talk to you. I just had to give you an update on what is happening with our grassroots campaigning. We've been doing consultations. We've been talking to people, and I felt like bringing you guys up to date because a lot of you have been worried that you didn't hear from me, and you're wondering if I'm safe, if anything bad has happened to me. Thank you so much, Bazwai, GBK MFM. So I just wanted to bring us up to date. You see, contrary to what I thought, about Enugu State, I thought things were bad. I thought the situation was really bad here. I thought people were suffering. But hey, contrary to all that thinking, what we've come to find out is not that it's not that the situation was bad, but actually we found out that the situation is terrible. It is not just bad, it is terrible. The situation is horrible. The first thing that I have not come to terms with, and I don't know what happened, is that I find that the citizens of Enugu State are in a state of it's like a zombie kind of state. People are in a state where I don't know, it looks like they've been charmed, it looks like they've been hoodwinked. So people are so complacent, they are not reacting anymore, they are not making any moves to better their life. They don't even have a very good realization of the state of affairs of their life. People just go about their business without the level of aspiration in people is at an all-time low. People just walk about like there is no hope. That is what I'm able to find out in the streets. There's this sense of hopelessness. You're in the market and you look around and people are just wandering aimlessly. It's not like they're expressing it. They just internalized their suffering. They just internalize what they're feeling. And that to me is very weird, very uncomfortable, and demands some great attention. It runs deeper than what we actually thought. I'm telling you. For one, I realized that because Enugu State is a civil service state, a lot of people receive their salary from the state government. And so there is this effort by people not to associate themselves with any seemingness of opposing the government of the day. People don't want that to happen. People are very careful about what they say. People are very careful about commenting on issues. People don't even want to be associated with somebody who seems to be opposing the government, by somebody who seems to be addressing the issues that people are dealing with in the government. And that is very uncomfortable. people have been pushed down to a level of poverty that they've become very beggarly. I see people just begging for handouts. And you know what? The people who are in positions of authority seem to like the fact that people are in a situation of hopelessness, that people are in a situation where they have to beg for things. And so they can come and give them these handouts. And I started wondering, why hasn't the government tried to empower people? You know, I'm a huge supporter of agriculture. And we're going to be using agriculture to be able to bring Enugu State back to its former glory. What am I saying by this? That people are hungry, but I don't see the government making any effort to empower the people to at least be able to feed themselves. And what this has caused is a situation where people just depend on a few of individuals in the society for their handouts. The politicians seem to have caught this vision, and so what they have turned the state into is a place where they don't even bother about elections anymore. Let me explain to you the political system that goes on in Enugu State. They have this zoning formula where they seem to have divided the state into 3 zones. And what it means is that they allow each zone to occupy the position of governor for 4 years with another second 4-year term, making it 8 years. So if anybody had political ambition, or anybody felt that what they were getting from the system was not good enough, they would have to wait 8 years times 3, which is 24 years, before it comes back to their zone. Now, when it gets to their zone, it is further divided, or it further rotates amongst maybe towns or wards within that zone. So if they tell you that it's not the time, or it is not the turn of your own town or your village or your ward, that means you're going to have to wait another 24 years before you even begin to exploit your political ambition. So that is 48 years that you have to wait. And you still call that democracy? That is not democracy. Good thoughts. Can you be our guest on an interactive? Yes, Uchenna and okay, I can anytime. We've been doing a lot of consulting. We've been talking with people. And I'm so happy with the awareness that has been created. On the surface, people think that the government of the day is not facing any opposition, but I can tell you there are so many young people, and people will find out very soon as we get closer to the elections. So like I was saying, this system is very terrible. Let me tell you why it is terrible. It's not just that you have to wait sometimes 48 years if you're going to go by their system. That is the terrible thing about it. But the fact that because it is zoned, and this zoning method was invented or adopted by just a few people in the government or in the political arena. And mind you, Enugu State is dominated by one state, PDP. And so that decision about zoning, somebody was arguing with me and said, no, it's not a PDP thing. I said, well, whatever. It is not a decision that was taken by the majority of the people of Enugu State. And so what happens is that when one governor is ending their term in office, they choose the next person who is going to be the governor. And so by choosing or appointing the next person who is going to be the governor, you already know who's going to be the governor. There's no need for an election. The same way the chairman of local governments are picked. That's just the same way they are picked. And the practice goes on and on and on. Councillors are picked in the same way. So you see a lot of people who practice sycophancy. Instead of people now sitting down to craft an agenda, to craft a manifesto, to think about how they're going to better the lives of their citizens, they craft and they try to learn how to suck up to either the governor or the chairman so that they can get a political, so that they can win a political position. So the political life of Enugu State is not powered by the electorate. No, it is not the electorate. It's just a few people that decide what happens. And this is terrible. This is not acceptable. And so this is why we in the African Action Congress, we do not believe in that system of zoning. That is why we have come to set it aside. That's why we have come to disrupt it and bring things back to what is supposed to be. We do not believe in maintaining the status quo where what is not challenged, where the person in authority gets to wake up and do what they like, choose which project they want to embark on, choose which area they want to turn their attention on, because they are not responsible, they are not answerable to anybody. That is not acceptable to us. You see, people in Enugu also have come to accept the conditions that they see around themselves. They've come to accept it. Although this is one thing that is obtainable in most parts of Nigeria. But it's kind of funny. People just on their generators without thinking. It's normal. They just buy gas and put in the generator and they turn it on a little bit. Quite often they turn it on because there's no light from the authorities. People don't agitate about these things. They don't complain about it anymore. It's just part of everyday life. That is very, 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 very amazing. People go to the hospital. They don't get to see the doctor for hours. When they see the doctor, they prescribe medicines that they have to go get from a pharmacy that has some relationship with the doctor. Or they transfer them to a private clinic or a private hospital owned by the same doctor who treated them in the government hospital. And people don't see anything wrong with this. They don't complain about it. Life just goes on. Like I said before, you think the condition is bad, but then from a grassroots position, you see that the condition is not just bad, it is terrible, it is unacceptable, it is totally kaput. And the one I can't stand too is the level of praise singing. You never saw this in Enugu before. But now, people just sing the praises and the praises of the incumbent. They have billboards all over the city now, praise singing more than anything else. People don't challenge. I mean, you go to your village and your car can't even get from the express to your father's compound. You don't want to talk about it because we've gone around, visited so many villages now, visited so many local governments, and the story is the same thing. So sometimes I keep wondering, where are all these roads I keep hearing about? Oh, there was so much road that was built. There was so much road that was built. I don't see any. I was showing a very bad road the other day in a video. And a very good friend of mine, he texted me. He was making comments on the video. And he was trying to say, oh, Chidi, you're doing the bad thing. You're doing a very bad thing. How come you only picked these terrible roads to show people when you know that the governor has done a lot of good roads? And I'm like, hold on a minute. Are you trying to say that what I'm showing is fake news? Are you trying to say it did not happen? Or are you trying to say I should not highlight anything bad? No, let us report things the way they are. The story everywhere, the narrative is that, oh, there are fantastic infrastructure everywhere. Even the praise singers kept trumpeting, even the Milking Hill. But you guys know that that project even collapsed. It failed a few days after it was commissioned. But that kind of thing doesn't get to the news. You want to talk about the quality of the roads and other infrastructure that the government in Enugu State is being praised for. If you analyze it, you will understand that there is more than meets the eyes. The other one that I have noticed here, and it's just there. It's just there. People can't explain it, but it's there. There's this fear that I see amongst the citizens of Enugu State. Fear. I don't know who has instilled that fear in them. Fear that something would happen. If you feel that the leadership, the administration that provides governance instills fear into people, then why are we not complaining? Why are we not challenging it? Why are we not speaking up? Why are we not doing anything about it? All we want to do is just live in fear. And because we live in fear, we cannot participate in politics. We cannot protest anything that the government is not doing right. We cannot engage in activism because of fear. I don't think people being afraid tells good on the government. Because if people are afraid to talk to you, if people are afraid to complain, then you begin to wonder, why are they afraid? Why? Is it possible that there are things that could happen to them outside the provisions of the law? No, it should be the other way around. It should be that people are able to go about their duties, people are not afraid of expressing themselves. Then you know that the community is growing in a healthy manner, because people live in freedom, people can express themselves. So the other thing that I see that's going on in Enugu is this fear of the unknown, just fear. Fear has crippled a lot of people. And if I talk to them, they don't even want to talk to me. Why? Because they are afraid. If you ask them to explain to you what they are afraid of, you just say, no, we're just afraid. Just leave that thing. Some people even think I should not open my mouth to declare my intention to run for the governor of Enugu State. And I ask, why? This is your time. This is your generation. And they say, there is no vacancy in the Lion building. And my response is, that's not true. That's a big lie. If there was no vacancy, INEC will not be setting up to have an election in Enugu State. The reason why the government is going to conduct elections in Enugu State is because there is a vacancy after the first 4 years of the government in power. And so, people who are saying there's no vacancy in the government house are saying that out of ignorance. There is a vacancy, and then if the incumbent wins an election, he reoccupies that space. And if he loses an election, another person takes that place. So you cannot say there is no vacancy. And when you believe that, and when you teach it to the people, and when you instill it in the populace, in the citizenry, that is most unfair. That is you taking undue advantage of the public. Because what you should teach them is what the Constitution provides, not making it look like nobody should even try it. In fact, it's almost taking, people almost see it like you're breaking the law. Like you're going against the Constitution when you declare to run against the incumbent. I remember a situation where there was a brochure that was being produced for an event, and someone was so afraid because they heard I was going to take a page, and they knew that when I take that page, it was going to indicate that I was running for Enugu State governorship position. So they were kind of scared, and they promptly wrote on a forum that how can you imagine the governor coming to an event, opening the brochure, and seeing somebody else being advertised for his position? And I'm like, so why can't that happen? Why? In your own place, before you do something, you have to bother how someone who is not even close by, someone whose interest in what you're doing is not as much as you and the people for which the event was organized. And you are there trembling about the person. Like, if the person sees you, they'll get angry and they will do something to you. Is that the kind of leadership that we have in Enugu State? Is that what the leadership has succeeded in making people believe? We were in Ebonyi State a couple of days ago, and the governor of the state, who had already given a go-ahead for a youth organization to use the stadium, we now hear that the government sent for the gate of the stadium to be shut down. This is Ebonyi State is a neighboring state to Enugu State. But I just use that example to show you the kind of thing that is going on in Enugu State. But all these are what we're coming to change through the African Action Congress. I'm not going to take much of your time, but I just sincerely want to ask you guys to find a way to support us. You see, running an election is not cheap. Either way you look at it. We're not talking about giving people money. Good morning, Rita. We're not just talking about, we know we will not give out money. We'll not hand money to people to solicit for their votes. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the logistics that is needed to be able to run a successful campaign. Because whether you like it or not, we're going to print posters. If you're following us, you can imagine how much we've spent already. We have to move around. We have to fuel our cars. We have to make banners, posters, flyers, flags, placards. So many materials we have to do every time you do it for an event, they're gone. You have to start making them for another event. This is what comes with politics. Nobody is denying that. But I want to use this opportunity to reach out to anybody who is our supporter, anybody who is our friend, anybody who is our follower, for you guys to go to our GoFundMe page and contribute, donate to support this mission. It's not easy, but we are not discouraged, we are undaunted, and we'll continue to push until something happens. I'm going to post a link to the GoFundMe page, or if you want to call, you can also, I'm going to put a number that you can call to get information about how you can be one of those supporting this ambition. Remember to support Omoyele Sowore, who is a presidential aspirant and chairman of the African Action Congress. He needs all our support. He's a very vibrant young man. He's the kind of president that we need. So we'll support him till he becomes the president of Nigeria in 2019. And you will support me and continue to support me, for which I am very grateful, until I become the governor of Enugu State of Nigeria. Thank you so much, and God bless you.